They showed the baseball game live with sound up
During
during
the Oilers game.
the game.
That's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm
Unacceptable.
Like, somebody said that to me, and I'm like, not a chance they would do that.
It's true. It's true. And Connor, I learned about it from the McDavid quotes after the game.
How can you do that?
Do we have McDavid after
I
the
actually
game?
thought of that too in terms of like rights and like if you.
Do we have it?
No, we don't have it.
Okay.
The quote from McDavid is like, I found myself sitting on the bench watching the game, and when I was on the ice, I found myself listening to the crowd to see what was going on. Right? Like, it's this big spot, and you're on the ice, you're like, did they get a hit?
I can't think of a bigger distraction ever in a hockey game. Like, there's fights going on while you're still playing. There's beer pouring on you during a game. I've had mustard thrown at me in those little packages. Like, but I cannot believe that they would do that. Like,
They
first
turned it
of all,
off for the third period, they said. They turned it off for the third.
that's even more dangerous.
That's way worse.
That's
Just
way worse.
Finish it off. If
You
you're going to
give
leave
it
it
to
up
them.
there, yeah.
Because now everyone's like, what's going on?
I'm going to the lobby.
So, 9/11, the Rangers, after 9/11, they had an exhibition game in Philly, and the Philly building decides to show President Bush at the time up live during the game, right?
Really?
To talk about, what the next plan of the United States is.
You were in this game?
No, I was not in this
okay.
game, but I know this story.
Yeah.
And then they shut it off, and people went ballistic, and they actually put it back on, and then they canceled the exhibition game.
Come on. Talk
But,
about
like-
falling all over your shoes.
It was it was nuts.
That's a mess.
It was nuts. But why don't you just tell people if you're gonna drive a car and text, be careful? It's like, why would you send your players out there with such a big distraction? I found it like almost like a.
That's interesting. You think of a safety thing for the
a
player.
safety thing where you're focused, you're not focused, you get hit, there's a collision, a goalie looks up for a split second because it's maybe one of the greatest sporting event in our history going on. It's like, and then play-by-play, Jack.
Jack Michaels, yeah.
Like,
Hey, we think we might have that. Maybe we don't.
Do we-
Do we have that, Jake, or no? We do. We do.
okay, let's just Jack Michael calling the game.
Under duress, Mangiapane rides him into the boards. Henry creates. Driving behind, the Blue Jays have just won the World Series. Or no, they're calling him out at home. First down.
The Blue Jays.
We gotta
Ninth
come on.
inning.
How do you do that?
The Blue Jays just won the World
We gotta
Series. And you know what? I feel so bad for Jack.
Can we go?
No.
Come on, Cam.
No. I've been
here for 26 minutes,
I feel
man. Let's
horrible.
go.
I feel horrible. I feel horrible for Jack because he was in a position now to comment
On
on
that
something.
pop. You have to comment
and
on the
he's
pop.
trying to call a game, and he's trying to focus on what's going on at the Jays game and try to match it up, and it was wrong. And it's like, what do we do to him?
They tried to give everyone what they wanted, right? Everyone wanted the Jays game. Everyone wanted the Oilers game. They tried to give them what they wanted.
Let's go.
Catch your breath, everybody. I promise you more hockey talk
I promise you hockey talk.
on the
not
Real
more, but
Kipper
some
and
hockey
Bourne
talk.
show after these words. Don't mind us. We're just talking
Yeah,
amongst ourselves
I
there.
ended up in a box for the first time in my life at the Rogers Center for Game 7 of the World Series. That was interesting.
Saw Drake.
Yeah, I did see Drake.
A reminder, this hour of Real Kipper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365, Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, John Michael Isles.
Hopefully he's there. Yes, thank
Yeah,
God.
right.
No more Jays, thank God.
John,
Jays talk's over.
Jays talk, baseball talk is over, buddy. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I watched that Game 7, and that was heartbreaking. I was with Darren Helm actually the next day, and we were talking about it, and I said, can you imagine being on the Leafs team that lost to Boston after being up 4-1 with 10 minutes left? Like, that might be worse, and I experienced that one. So I feel for the Jays and just Canadian baseball fans. I was rooting for him, and I'm not a Jays fan, and I was still rooting for him.
Oh, that's good to hear. It was certainly heartbreak up here. I'm actually really glad to get to talk to you. Turn the page. Talk about a team that's winning a little bit here. The Colorado Avalanche off to a good start this year. Could you just sort of give us a check-in on the Avs? Where are things? How have they got to the top of the standings in the Central?
Well, I think, going into training camp, there was a huge focus on getting out of the gates a lot better than they did last year. They didn't get over 500 until I believe it was November 13th last year. So they've done a good job of getting out of the gates well. Solid goaltending. Mackenzie Blackwood just played his first game of the year in San Jose the other night, but Scott Wedgwood has been playing really well. And they've been getting contributions up and down the lineup. It feels like there's a really solid depth on this team, and that's forward and D. Brent Burns has been a fantastic addition on the back end. And, having healthy Gabe Landeskog in the lineup has made a huge difference. And it's noticeable. I would say, looking at their kind of record and the games they've played thus far, there haven't been any games where we sit there as analysts and announcers going, wow, that was a stinker. They've had a period here or there, but it feels like they've been in pretty much every game, had an opportunity to win every game. And it shows in the standings.
You're watching and listening to John Michael Lyles, former Avs, Leaf, Hurricane, Bruins, Avalanche. Am I missing anybody, John?
That's that pretty much nailed it, I think. Yeah.
Just you mentioned Brent Burns and what you've been able to see, the longevity, the consistency. What makes him still an effective guy at this age?
Well, I think, watching him for so long and playing against him for a long time as well. I mean, the offensive ability, his, the way that he's able to get shots through to the net pretty much every time. Very rarely does he have them blocked. But for me, just the smarts, the way that he protects the puck, he moves it so efficiently, whether it's in the offensive zone or coming out of the D zone. And it's just, it wasn't something that I necessarily keyed in on when he signed here, but it's been just, front and center, pretty much every game. And the way, I mean, listen, you're 40 years old, you've been in the league for played 1,500 games. You have to take care of your body in order to be doing it that long and still doing it effectively. So the way that he just, he approaches each and every day, and we've had him, on the set and just talking with him in interviews and whatnot. He loves coming to the rink every day and just, having that guy back there, 40 years old. I'm not saying it's Ray Bourque-esque, but you have somebody that's been in the game for a long, long time. He hasn't won a Stanley Cup, and he has an opportunity with a really good team here in Colorado. I would say that, it gives guys a little bit of an extra motivation coming to the rink each and every day and seeing how he approaches the game on a daily basis.
So when going through this team and sort of doing a little prep to chat with you today, looking at their record after regulation, we're talking about all the talent. They've lost to Utah, New Jersey, San Jose in 3-on-3. They've lost a couple of shootouts. What is their deal? Why can't they get that extra point?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the shootout record over the last few years, it hasn't been great. And I look at it, you've got so much talent there. For whatever reason, Nathan MacKinnon, when he has a guy on his back, seems to score 9 out of 10 times. But when Nathan MacKinnon has, in a shootout, he's got time and space. It hasn't clicked. And I mean, when he's going, 110 miles an hour, that's where he's most effective. So I'm not saying this is all Nathan MacKinnon. It's just weird how it plays out in a shootout. And as far as overtime, it comes down, especially during 3-on-3, it comes down just to the littlest details. And if you're a half step behind a guy and, you've got an opportunity, call it offensively, and you miss the net, or there's a rebound and all of a sudden it kicks back out. The Avs they've gotten beat on a couple 2-on-1s. There was one bad bounce in Jersey. Makar passes it up to Natchez. Natchez tries to grab it with his glove because it was, in the air, and all of a sudden it hits off his glove. Kicks back to the Jersey player who feeds Jack Hughes in front for his second opportunity, and call it 10 seconds. You give Jack Hughes 2 opportunities in front of the net in 10 seconds. He's probably going to bury one of those. So it just, some weird stuff. I know they've been experimenting a little bit, trying to, see if they can dial in, the forward combinations with certain D combinations. So it's definitely interesting this many games into this season and to have this many losses past regulation with the talent that they have.
John, we know that Gabriel Landeskog's comeback is something we seldom see in a career, and that alone is a huge accomplishment. But he's still looking for his first goal.
Yeah.
There's some nights that he's playing 12 minutes, which is a far cry from earlier in his career when he often led the team in ice time and that could easily average 20 minutes a game. Is this just the way it's going to be moving forward for this guy? And is it more just to continue to kind of protect him a little bit? Is there ever a chance that we can see that guy that prior to the major injury?
Well, what I would say, and we've talked about it on our broadcast, is that there definitely has to be patience, right? I mean, you're out of the game for 3 years. You come back in the playoffs last year, but we all know how playoff hockey is, especially when you've been out that long. You're running on pure adrenaline at that point, in my mind. And the way that he was in the playoffs and the way that line was and the effectiveness, it's different than stepping into game 1 of the regular season. And now you've gone through a proper training camp and you feel like you're right there. You're not running on that adrenaline when you're going every other day with the travel. And so to me, it's, now you're seeing that kind of 3 years away from the game a little bit. And my thing is, okay, like there's got to be patience involved at this point. Give him time to really get himself back up to speed for that grind of a season. And we've definitely seen flashes of it thus far. You mentioned no goal. I mean, he scored a goal in Utah on the road that would have put the Avs up 2-0 that ended up getting called back. It was a bit controversial. They were saying Nichushkin's forechecking caused Genther to stick handle it back into his own end, which then, resulted in the offside. We talked about it for it seemed like, the next week straight. But, it would have been nice to have him on the board with that one, because it would have been a critical goal on the road in a hard fought game at the time. And Utah ends up flipping the tables and really, dominating, I would say, a good portion of the remainder of that game. So, for me, I see Landy and I see what he's doing. They moved him on a line with Jack Drury and Victor Olofsson, kind of off of that Nelson Nichushkin line. And so I think that probably, goes to some of the, the 12 minutes versus the 18, 19 minutes that he was playing prior to the injury. Sometimes 20 minutes. And then, also they've been experimenting with some of the power play units. That top power play unit with Makar and McKinnon a lot of times can play, a minute 30, a minute 40. So, with Landy being on the second unit, you're only seeing 15 or 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds of a power play. So I think there's, so there's some reasoning behind why he's only playing, 12 to 15 minutes at the time, right now. But it wouldn't shock me if that continues to increase as he battles through that the cobwebs of having 3 years off and essentially just rehabbing for 3 years to try to get back to where he is right now.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. First off, two things. Number one, that hat is awesome. That Avs alumni rope hat is really fantastic. The gear is wonderful, right? They got the Nordiques thirds the other day. The Avs got great gear these days.
Yes.
But the question for you is about Marty Necas. So the Avs end up with Marty Necas. He signs this nice contract. Your thoughts on ending up with Necas and that contract? I guess in the contrast of the Rantanen situation a year or two ago, I know that it's there, right? Like that's everyone is like
everybody still wants to talk about it.
Well, it's just how does it feel better now that you have a guy that can run with McKinnon and score and all that locked up for an 8-year deal?
Yeah. Yes, it does. And what I would say is you go back to the Rantanen stuff. What did happen, what didn't happen. I mean, it's a long time ago. there's some PTSD involved from the Rantanen situation when you go back to it, right? So now all of a sudden you have Natchez coming in. He's due for an extension. It wasn't signed in the summer. Bam, it gets signed. So now all of a sudden I think people are feeling good. He scored in back-to-back games since signing the extension. He's a guy that now that he's had some time with McKinnon, there's a definite chemistry there. Anybody would love to have Mikko Rantanen on their team, but in the end, you have Cale Makar and you have Nathan McKinnon. They're always going to be your top two. And so that was how it was going to be with the Avs. The Avs are always going to have McKinnon and Makar. That's your top two. Who's going to be the third? In the end, there was contract negotiations. Whatever happened behind the scenes happened. But, Mikko ended up in Dallas because of that. And realistically, the Avs have always been focused on the Makar extension, right? Which is going to be coming up in the summer. And Cale Makar can push a number if Cale wants to push a number.
You think he'll want to?
And that's,
No. Better question. John, better question. Are people nervous already?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't see it being an issue. Cale loves being here. The Avs love him. First of all, he's an unbelievable player, but second of all, he is an unreal person too. Right, and he's a great teammate, and he's the guy that you want.
Okay,
on your
so
back.
all you're saying is big discount coming. Big discount. He loves it here. Big discount.
Oh my gosh. I'm saying Cale could pretty much determine what Cale makes.
Yeah.
Right, and if Cale wants to push a number, I don't know that the Avs are gonna. They could, but I don't see the Avs backing away from any number. And if Cale wants to say, hey, I want to win and I can take this, I'm sure the Avs would be pumped with that as well. So I don't see Cale being anywhere else other than a Colorado Avalanche. I just think that he's too valuable, what he does, not just offensively, but defensively, in the way that he can dictate a game from the back end. And when you put that with Nathan McKinnon, and you put that with Marty Natchez, and you've got, Nelson and Nichushkin and Landeskog, like their top six is the best it's looked in the last, call it 5 years since they won the Cup. And I would say the forward depth is as good as it's been as well. It's just, top to bottom, the goaltending from where it was a year ago, you've got two completely new goaltenders that have been fantastic since coming to Colorado. So I think there's just a lot to like, and I don't see, the Cale Makar extension being an issue, when it comes around, after the season's over.
John, great stuff, man, as always, on our show. One quick question here. What kind of alumni player are you? Because I stink.
Oh, man.